So when you think of a hot hatchback, which brand do you think of? It's simple, it's Volkswagen. You know, the brand that brought you guys the four-banger front-wheel drive monster, the coolest car any enthusiast would want, the Volkswagen GTI. So buckle your seatbelts and sit back and hold on tight. We're gonna jump back to the past and see where the modern Volkswagen GTI got its roots from, to basically prove once and for all why the Volkswagen GTI is the best freaking hot hatchback out there. Come along as we peel back the layers on all we need to know about the Volkswagen GTI. For all of you who don't know me, my name is Andrew, and welcome to all you need to know about the Volkswagen GTI. If you guys are new to my channel, go down below and hit that subscribe button. If you guys have been here before, well, welcome back. I love having you guys here. And if you guys love this video, go down below and smash that like button. The Volkswagen GTI is known all around the world as basically the OG hot hatchback, and basically has gone through 7 different generations over the past 46 years. That's amazing that this generation and car's been around even for that long. Volkswagen has built basically many different variations of the GTI over the years to cater to everyday drivers and enthusiasts alike, which basically has given the GTI a reputation of being, I personally think, the best hot hatchback money can buy. And yes, sorry for all you Honda and Ford guys out there. The newest generation, the 7th generation, has raised Volkswagen's reputation in the car community, basically being incredibly reliable and allowing us and crazy enthusiasts to modify the car to get some incredible numbers out of it. Now, without further ado, guys, let's jump into all we need to know about the Volkswagen GTI. Let's first start in 1955. Volkswagen was looking for basically a replacement for the Beetle. Their goal was to basically build a car that was reliable, affordable, and aimed at long-range commuters that could basically run also as a weekend family car. Volkswagen developed several different concepts over the next 19 years, but never really came up with the perfect replacement for the Beetle. Finally, designers came up with a front-wheel drive, water-cooled, transversely mounted setup that basically, when packaged all together, birthed the Volkswagen Golf, aka the Mark I. The name of the Golf is basically attributed with first the game of golf and also the Gulfstream current. Just a little fun fact for you guys. Production started in 1974, and over the next 11 years, Volkswagen took the world by storm, selling over 500,000 units of the Mark I. Volkswagen did actually so well with the Mark I platform that they decided to make a performance edition called the GTI. The name of the GTI comes from the fuel injection system found in early Volkswagen Golfs. Finally, in 1987, Volkswagen bought the Golf to the United States, and they branded the car as the Rabbit, which forever cemented the Golf's legacy in the United States. In 1984, Volkswagen introduced the world to the Mark II platform. Thanks to the success of the Rabbit, Volkswagen decided to finally, thank God, introduce the GTI badge to the US market. The new design was cleaner, with modern lines and more power. The Mark II platform saw 3 options of the GTI, basically the standard GTI, the GTI 16 valve, and also the GTI G60. All cars came with basically a 1.8 liter inline-4 engine, but the GTI G60 had a G60 supercharger basically strapped onto it, which basically made this car a blast to drive. In 1990, the GTI got an updated facelift to finish out the last 2 years of production. Over the total 8 years production period, Volkswagen sold over 6.3 million variations of the Mark II GTI. So next, we're going to talk about the Mark III platform. By 1992, Volkswagen has basically ended the production of the Mark II platform and introduced the new Mark III platform. The Mark III platform is probably one of actually the least loved GTI platforms out there, but personally, I think it actually had the biggest contribution to the GTI name. The Mark III platform saw the introduction first of the 2.0 liter 4-cylinder motor that would later be used with a turbo strapped onto it in basically the remainder of the GTI models. We also saw the beginning of the special edition GTIs, and finally was the introduction of the infamous VR6 motor. Damn, this motor sounds amazing, guys. When the Mark III platform was released in 1992, it won Car of the Year and also European Car of the Year, which really actually drove up the hype for the Mark III platform. Volkswagen also released for the first time a special edition GTI called the 20th Anniversary GTI. And yes, for all you Mark IV boys out there, don't worry, we'll be getting to you guys very soon. The Mark III 20th Anniversary GTI was only really released in Europe. The market was limited to a quantity of 1,000 cars made. So pretty limited edition car, very hard to come by. This car came with special Recaro seats, leather golf shift knobs, and also rocked a split BBS RS 722 wheels, which all look beautiful on this car. In total, Volkswagen sold around 4.7 million models of the Mark III, but many of the Mark IIIs are being actually lost to time due to Volkswagen's decision to make most of the body panels out of low quality steel, which is known for rot and basically has destroyed many subframes and just panels of the Mark III over the years. The Mark IV generation, probably one of the most beloved Volkswagen platforms out there. Well, at least in my opinion, I think the Mark IV is the most beloved. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. For me personally, over the last, 5 to 10 years, we'll just say, I've owned actually 2 Mark IV R32s, and I've also owned 2 Mark IV VR6 GTIs. The Mark IV GTI started production in 1997, and at launch was the best-selling actually car in Europe until 2001. The base GTI car came with 2 options, the 1.8T and the VR6, which the Mark IV platform held both the 16-valve and the 24-valve VR6 options. If you can't tell, I'm a huge VR6 guy, but the 1.8T makes really good power and is a really fun first car for many people to own. The Mark IV generation had 2 special edition cars, which basically kept the platform relevant to today. In 2002, the GTI 25th Anniversary Edition, or better known as the GTI 337 Edition, was released. Only 1,500 units were produced for the US market and an additional 250 for the Canadian market. This model basically came painted with a metallic reflex silver, 18-inch BBS RC wheels, Recaro seats, factory body kit, 6-speed manual transmission, large brakes, had lowered suspension, and also aluminum interior trim. Pretty nice options for the time. In 2003, the GTI 20th Anniversary Edition was released in North America markets. Only 4,000 of these cars were brought to the US, while 200 were shipped to the Canadian markets. The car marked basically the 20th anniversary of the GTI introduction in North America and was built very similar to the 25th Anniversary Edition GTI, or the 337 Edition, which was better known. The car came in basically pre-allocated color options. 50% were Black Magic Pearl, 25% Jazz Blue, and 25%, I think it's called Ima Yellow. You guys can correct me in the comments section. In most markets, the Mark IV platform stopped production in 2005, but in certain areas such as China and South America, production continued until 2010. So as I like to call it, the bubble platform, or the Mark V platform, began production in Europe in 2003. But the Mark V GTI didn't come to North America's shores until 2006. The new GTI basically was now packaged with a 2.0 inline-4 turbo, making around 200 horsepower. This car also came with a 6-speed manual or a 6-speed DSG option. In 2007, the Mark V GTI also was named by Automotive Magazine Automobile of the Year. The Mark V GTIs had 2 special edition cars. Following the success of the 20th anniversary edition GTIs, in 2006, Volkswagen released the GTI Edition 30 to basically celebrate the 30th year of the GTI being produced. The goal was to only release 1,500 cars, but due to really strong demand, Volkswagen eventually produced 2,280 cars. The cool part about this car, it gave an extra 30 horsepower over the stock GTI just to give it a little, oomph over that original GTI. So pretty nice. And it also took design cues from the earlier 20th anniversary GTIs. Luckily, in North America, Volkswagen decided to release a special edition GTI called the Fahrenheit Edition. The car was painted with a magma orange paint, which you definitely can't miss this car color. Special Fahrenheit badges, and also a factory body kit. They only produced around 1,200 Fahrenheit GTIs for the US and about 150 for the Canadian markets. In 2008, Volkswagen released, I quote, the brand new Mark VI platform. The GTI came with a 2.0 inline-4 turbo motor, but sadly, the new generation was basically a reskinned Mark V GTI with little improvements. Most of the actual improvements came in actually the manufacturing process to help lower the final cost of the car. Volkswagen did release one special edition GTI called the GTI Edition 35, which was basically to celebrate the 35th year anniversary of the GTI being released. To me, I do think that the Mark VI body style and also the ability to modify the platform is really nice, but I do feel that Volkswagen made the Mark VI to basically just boost revenues during the Great Recession, which I feel like they kind of took the short route on making this generation car. Finally guys, we are now up to the newest generation, the Mark VII GTIs. Now, with this generation, Volkswagen did not cheap out. The Mark VII started production in 2012 and introduced the new platform called the MQB platform. The idea behind the MQB platform allowed Volkswagen to standardize from basically the firewall forward for all Volkswagen, Audis, Skodas, and Seats, which basically dramatically helped lower the cost of the car and kept the standardized layout through all of these different kind of front wheel drive cars. The new generation had an updated 2.0 liter inline-4 turbo motor, which with a bigger turbo actually could put out now 228 horsepower. The ability to modify the car made it popular with enthusiasts. It was actually crazy kind of the amount of performance you guys can get out of this generation. The Mark 7s also went through a facelift in 2018 to update a few features such as the new digital display cockpit. A pretty cool feature if you guys have the Mark 7.5 cars. Volkswagen introduced two special edition GTIs, the GTI Club Sport S and the Rabbit Edition GTI. The GTI Club Sport S sadly only was released in the European markets with a limited production number of 400, with 100 being reserved for Germany. I don't know why, but for some reason Europe always gets the cool cars and us in America, we get shafted. This car was built to celebrate the 40th anniversary of the launch of the GTI. The car output more horsepower than actually the new Mark 7 Golf Rs, around 306 horsepower, which I personally think is amazing for factory spec GTI. This car, I personally think, has really beautiful styling, and I really think people in America would love this car. Hopefully, we will get a 40th edition GTI in 2023, but hey, I'll be waiting, Volkswagen. In 2019, VW released the GTI Rabbit Edition. This car paid homage to the original VW Rabbit that was brought to the US in 1976. This car brought back the fun Rabbit badges and also the plaid seats. This car is actually the most recent VW Special Edition car to be released, and also now with the Mark 8 generation Golfs basically already being produced and released in Europe, we will soon in America get these generations, so this will probably be the last Special Edition car for the Mark 7 generation. So what makes the GTI the GTI? As you guys can see from the history above, the GTI extends over many years and many different generations, which means there's basically a GTI out there for everyone. Throughout the years, there's basically been one thing that has stayed consistent with the GTI, and that is the front-wheel drive aspect of the car. The performance of the GTI has dramatically improved over time as new technology has allowed for more horsepower and better handling. The GTI has come in a variety of motors, from the original 1.8 liter inline 4-cylinder to the naturally aspirated VR6, and now currently the modern 2.0 turbo. There are plenty of options for power bands for enthusiasts to choose. I have put together a chart of all the GTIs that have been made from the Mark 1 platform all the way up to the newest Mark 7 GTIs. If I happen to miss one, guys, sorry about it. Just please in the comment section down below, throw the car in there that I missed and throw some details so everyone can be informed about that type of GTI. The early model GTIs, the Mark 1 and Mark 2, had the 1.8 liter inline 4-cylinder motors, outputting around 90 horsepower to 120 horsepower, depending on the variant of the motor. The overall sweet spot for reliability but fun for the GTI is around, I'd say, 200 horsepower. The first motor that actually output 200 horsepower was the Mark 4 GTI 24-valve VR6, which, as I stated in my other video, all you need to know about the R32, is probably the best sounding motor Volkswagen has made to date. From the Mark 5 up to the newest generation, the Mark 7, the GTI has stayed around the 200 horsepower mark, which has kept it as one of the most enjoyable hot hatchbacks to drive. The Mark 1 GTIs really made a name for itself in the performance area. This car was so light that it could basically outhandle all cars in its equivalent class. It also can do a 0 to 60 in around 9 seconds, which for today you might think that is pretty slow, but back in the time, a 9-second 0 to 60 could actually be equated to the same as the Corvette, a Datsun 280ZX, or a Mazda RX-7 in around the 1980s, so pretty fast car. Fast forward 40 years, and the new Mark 7 GTI can do a 0 to 60 in about 5.6 seconds. When you compare that to, say, other cars, the GTI stacks up to, say, the Mustang, the Camaro, and the Subaru WRX, which I think is pretty awesome to get out of a front-wheel drive hot hatchback. So I have put together a list of 20 different variations of the Volkswagen GTI, from the Mark 1 all the way up to the newest, the Mark 7 generation. Within all of these basically generations, there are several variants of the GTIs that are more sought after than, say, the stock-based GTIs, and I would highly recommend that you buy these if you are able to get them within your price range. Probably the rarest GTI out of all of them for us Americans is the one car that we wish we got, and that was the Mark 1 GTI. Yes, the car that started the hot hatchback crave. If you can find one of the completely stock Mark 1 GTIs, this car is a must-have to own. As the years go on, the value of the cars are going to keep going up, and it's going to be, I personally think, a truly classic Volkswagen one day. In America, you can now actually import the Mark 1 GTIs since the 25-year import rules have elapsed. The next must-have Volkswagen GTI for all us Americans is the GTI 25th Anniversary Edition, or the 337 Edition, and the GTI 20th Anniversary Edition. I'm gonna go put these two cars basically in the same class because they're very similar build quality overall. The overall body style of the Mark IV has aged very well over the past 17 years. And with both cars being limited production numbered cars, they're actually very sought after in the Volkswagen community. To be honest actually with you guys, basically all the special edition anniversary cars should fit in this class. If you're looking for a GTI that is a little bit different than, say, the stock GTI, I would highly recommend checking out the GTI special edition cars. I think they would definitely fit what you're looking for. The last GTI I would say is a must-own is any generation GTI with a VR6 motor. Now, I may be going out on a limb, but the reliability of the VR6 motor and the raw performance you get from the motor will really make you hardly regret purchasing this car. It may not be as flashy as, say, the OG Mark I or the special edition GTIs, but hey, the miles per gallon you will get out of this car far outweigh having a special edition car. So what are GTIs going for? With the GTIs in production for over 40 years, you can imagine that the price range for these cars can vary dramatically. To help you guys kind of get a better understanding what you can expect to pay, I have put together a price listing for each variation of GTI from several different websites. All cars are in various conditions, so consider that when looking at the prices. I've ranked the cars by condition as either great, average, or bad. Great in green means that the car looks in really good shape and has lower mileage and has no rust on the car. Average in yellow basically means it has medium miles with some wear and tear on the car. Bad in red, the car has basically higher mileage and also basically may have some mechanical issues that you guys want to stay away from. Sadly, I was not able to actually find pricing for some cars since some of them were not sold here in the US. So if you guys know, say like in Europe, what these cars are selling for, please put a comment down below. It could really help out other people that are looking. This chart should also only be used to judge which car would basically fit best in your budget. So you want to buy a GTI. As you can see, you have basically a lot of options to choose from. So if you want to buy a GTI, what generation of car would be best for you? Are you on a budget? Do you want something with it as a new car with a warranty? Or do you want something that can be modified and make it your own? The best part, the GTI can fit almost anyone's needs. Over the years, basically the one thing that all generations have in common is front-wheel drive, which allows the car to basically be more fuel efficient, be good in the snow or wet weather, and also allow, at least I think, the car to be more reliable. As we all know, the GTI is basically the performance variant of the Golf, with better basic suspension, more power, and harder braking. The GTI has it all basically in one car. To be honest, Volkswagen has improved each generation as technology has become available, which has people coming back to buy the newest generation year over year. When going to look for a GTI, there are several things to look out for. If you are looking for at least a Mark I to Mark IV GTI, look out for rust on the body, rockers, and also the frame of the car, especially for the Mark III GTIs, since, as I mentioned above, the bodies were made out of a low quality steel. For all the VR6 GTIs and 2.0 motors, around 120,000 miles, I would definitely check to make sure that the timing chain or timing belts have been done. I mentioned this in my other video, all you need to know about the Volkswagen R32, but the timing chains keep the motor in time, and over time, the plastic guides basically break down and need to be replaced. If they are not, basically the motor runs the risk of being thrown out of time, and basically the motor could damage basically the internal pistons or the valves, which actually can be very expensive to replace. The last thing, make sure that the GTI has been well maintained and that you have records to look over. Being a GTI, they love being maintained. Just saying that. Make sure that the oil change has been done every 5,000 miles and fluids and also filters have been replaced when recommended by the manufacturer. So let's talk about some modifications. The aftermarket scene for Volkswagen community is absolutely enormous. Tuning companies from all around the world work with Volkswagen to bring new products to enthusiasts to basically help improve performance and upgrade the car, I would say, to the next level. Like most cars, if you are looking for a quick way to basically upgrade the car, the GTI, I would recommend buying an intake, coilovers, exhaust, and then flashing a tune on the car to about stage 1. All in all, this would probably cost you around $2,500 and would get an immense amount of performance upgrades on the car. The new Mark 7 GTIs are known for crazy increases in horsepower and torque. When adding, say, a stage 1 tune to the car, you can get 100 horsepower and 100 foot-pounds of torque for just, say, around $2,500. Some people even go even more crazy with their GTIs, doing VR6 swaps, say in a Mark 1 or Mark 2, installing bags, buying 3-piece wheels, putting in downpipes, new clutches, bigger brake kits, bigger turbos, coilovers, custom interiors, and even wide body kits. The opportunities are endless on these cars, and people really enjoy modifying and making the GTI into their own kind of car. You can build a GTI for the track or for show. Whatever your style is, the GTI can be the platform for you. So overall, the car community respects the GTI as the original hot hatchback and can be seen basically at almost any car show you go to today. Whether you drive a Mark 1 or you drive the new Mark 7 GTIs, you share basically a special bond with all other GTI owners. You both drive a GTI, the original hot hatchback. The Volkswagen community has been basically around for years and has been growing as the new generations are released. Some of the biggest VW car shows in the world, such as Wörthersee, Waterfest, Sobo, and H2R, are events that are sponsored by Volkswagen, and they come out to basically support the enthusiasts all around the world. The shows can range from stance GTIs to fully track-ready race cars. To be honest, that's why I love the Volkswagen community so much. No matter where you go, you will be able to find people who are into the same kind of car as you are. People are also willing to help find parts and even lend a hand fixing your car. For me, I have met so many of my best friends at shows and continue to go to events with them to this day. I hope you guys all enjoyed this look into the Volkswagen GTI. If you all enjoyed this video, go down below and smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. If you guys want to see more All You Need to Know episodes, let me know in the comment section down below which cars you would like me to do, and I'll shout you guys out in those videos. Until next time, guys, my name is Andrew. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.